90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. But why is that? It's because they violate one or more of these 5 critical business rules. I used to think I understand business until I read these principles in The Millionaire's Fast Way by MJ DeMarco, and they completely changed how I view business success. So today I'm going to show you the 5 rules successful businesses live by and why most companies are doomed to fail by breaking them. A couple of days ago, I was talking to a childhood friend who wants to start a business. He asked me to hop into a call so he could validate his business idea with me. I was reluctant, but I accepted it because we know each other for so long and I really want to help this guy. But to be honest, I was prepared to shut him down and tell him why his idea is not good and why it is not going to work. But when he started talking, I just realized this is an amazing idea and he should really go for it. And more than that, this reminded me of all the experiences I had with startups and trying to get them off the ground. Before I started working at my current company, by the way, these were my uni days, I was involved with 2 startups and I was also trying to start up my own tutoring business. Spoiler alert, all of these businesses failed and I also stopped tutoring, so guess you can call that failed as well. After my call with my friend, I started looking into all these previous businesses that didn't work out and really tried to figure out what was the unique point where we could done better. And it was around this time when I read The Millionaire's Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco, and the book really made me understand what went wrong in all of these business scenarios. In the book, he explains that most businesses fail because they violate what he calls the 5 commandments of building a successful business. But you should really strive to comply with all of these commandments in order to have a business you're proud of and get your time back for yourself. But without further notice, let's see what these 5 commandments really are. The first commandment is the Commandment of Control. If you don't have control over your business, it's like being a hitchhiker on a busy road. You might be picked up by someone and actually get on the fast lane. But the problem is you will never be at the wheel. You might be going fast, but do you have control of what's happening to you in that car? Imagine you're trying to get from New York to San Francisco, but then you get into a car that's going to Texas. You will never reach your destination like that. I remember working in a company called VitaBox. This was a social network for nutritionists. This was supposed to be a site that would connect nutritionists to people who want to lose weight or achieve a certain body mass percentage. Sound idea, no? So then what happened to this company? We got a lot of investors and we let them buy the majority of the company. The business owner, my friend, only got 5% of the total worth of the company in the end. We worked really hard to get the company off the ground, but in the end we had no control of what happened to the company. The people in control were the investors. So then what happened to this company? In the end, the business owner agreed to sell the remaining of his shares to the major stakeholders, and then he left the company. And that's what can happen if you don't have full control of your business decisions. The second is the Commandment of Entry, and it's saying if the barrier to business is low, you'll have loads and loads of competition and eventually go bankrupt. Unless, that is, you are exceptional. I live in the UK, and here, if you get on a national road, you'll encounter lots of traffic, bad roads, and then you'll end up going at 30 miles an hour. If you get on a toll road, you'll have to pay a fee, but after that, you'll encounter relatively empty roads and can go 70 miles an hour on a very well-maintained road. I used to prepare high school students for Olympiads when I was in uni, and I was making very good money out of it. But do you know how many requests I had to turn down? I turned down around 70% of the requests because I didn't have enough time, and people were furious. At the time, there were not a lot of people in Romania that could solve and explain very hard computer science problems to high school students, and that's why I did so well. But there was a problem in this business model, and we're going to talk about it in the 4th commandment. The 3rd is the Commandment of Need. If no one wants to buy your product in the first place, you will not have a profitable business. Doesn't matter how good the product is or how hard you worked. This is as if you drive with summer tires in the winter. No matter how hard the engine works, you will have no traction and therefore you won't be able to move forward. I remember being in a company called Quende. They were trying to do a social network where you get paid for your posts via cryptocurrency. This was back in 2013. But Facebook was dominating the space at the moment, and there were loads and loads of other social networks where you wouldn't be spammed by bots that were trying to get as much money as possible. The bottom line is, there was no need for such a social network, but we were doing it anyways. The company went bankrupt in 2018. It almost lasted 5 years. The fourth is the Commandment of Time. Your income stream shouldn't be directly tied to your time. Imagine being on a clear highway with 70-mile-an-hour speed limit and still having to play with the acceleration and manage your own speed. That sounds annoying, doesn't it? Now, imagine having cruise control, where at the press of a button, your car stays at the same speed throughout your journey. More than that, let's say you have adaptive cruise control. If you encounter a car in front of you that's going slower than you, your car will automatically slow down for you without you having to do anything. Don't get me wrong, you still have to manage the direction and make sure you get out of the highway at the right exit, but the journey is mostly hands-free. And that was the problem with the tutoring business I had in uni. How much money I was making was directly tied to how many hours I was tutoring. If I wanted to make more money, I needed to work more hours. And we all only have 24 hours in a day. Probably a better option would have been to start an online course or something. The fifth and the most important commandment is the Commandment of Scale. You need to be able to take your business to other areas of the country or the world. Imagine you're in a fast car that can do 300 miles an hour, but you're stuck at 30 miles an hour speed limit. Being able to scale is choosing the road where you can go as fast as you want. Think about the German Autobahn. Coming back to my tutoring experience, when I was preparing people for Olympiads, there was only one person in the company. Myself. In hindsight, I really should have thought about creating that online course and scaling my business. Well, too late now. Thanks for joining today. If you like this video and want to see more, check out this video or this video that the YouTube algorithm thinks you like. If you have any other books about business you read recently, please leave them in the comment section down below as I read all the comments. But until next time, have a good one!